Some beautiful music. Jordan Armstrong with Call, that one featuring Erica Campbell, Darius James with Keep On Running, that one also featuring Aaron Cole. We've got Mr. Trevor Abrams on the line. Now, he's, of course, representing the Working on Fire Kishugu joint venture. And this is with regards to the recent fire out in Simonstown. A very good afternoon to you, Trevor.
Good afternoon, Natasha. How are you doing?
I'm so well. Romy and I are so excited to have you on the program this afternoon. I trust you're having a good one.
Yes, it's a hot afternoon, as you know,
It is.
and it's even hotter on the fire line.
Can imagine. Trevor, getting into it, let's talk about the fire. What was the cause of the fire?
Well, the actual start of this fire has not yet been determined, but I think, we are in our fire season for the Western Cape and Southern Cape areas.
Yeah.
I think what we see is probably exacerbating the situation is really what we attribute to climate change. And what I mean by that is that, we've gone through a La Nina period, which has been wet, cooler. We've had a lot of growth coming up, and we've got new growth. And now the climate's actually shifted to a El Nino phase, which is drier, hotter. And this is really just the start of it. We've seen all over the world this year, we've had major, major fires, 18.5 million hectares burnt in Canada, Europe burning, Algeria had 24 people die, Tenerife, Hawaii. And even in South Africa, we've had the worst fire season in 8 years so far this calendar year.
Yeah.
We've lost 1.9 million hectares to fires.
Sure.
So, it's part of a global phenomenon that we're seeing play out. It's early in the Western Cape's fire season. And unfortunately, I think the prospects are for it to get more and worse.
Yeah. We're gonna touch on sort of the damages and also, how the community can assist in a bit, and Romeo will touch on that. But just in terms of damage control, how many team members were deployed at the fire out in Simonstown?
So we've had 76 firefighters on the fire today. We've had 4 UE helicopters, 1 Black Hawk helicopters. With our team at the moment is working on the left-hand flank. We've got also 12 members from NCC, and then I think another 10 members from the volunteers who are also working with us there. The municipal services had about 6 fire brigade engines and water tankers. They've essentially taken care of what's called the right flank, the Simonstown area near the urban area. So right now the fire is really in a wilderness area, just above the road that goes past the Cape Point entrance gate. And it's burning up against that mountain and being driven by fairly strong winds that's taking it in the direction of radial.
Sure.
And that's what we're trying to prevent at the moment, if it going into that area, possibly affecting the informal settlement and also further communities up the radial way.
Sure.
Speaking of which, to the best of our knowledge, are there any properties, lives, or even flora that has been affected?
So far, fortunately, it's been a very coordinated effort. We've had no loss of lives, certainly. There's been one uninhabited structure that burnt down, but no residences have, in fact, been burnt so far. And that's the fortunate part. There have been 5 reported injuries among firefighters, none in our Working on Fire team as yet. But it's quite arduous. It's up on the hill, mountainside, fairly steep, hot conditions, windy conditions, and a fire spreading very quickly.
Sure.
So, in fighting these fires, it looks nice to see all that water coming from the helicopters, but water bombing in itself doesn't put out the fire. You need the people on the ground.
Yeah.
It's a combined effort that you have to try and put out the fire. And when you're working in such steep and hilly conditions, or I should say even mountainous conditions, and you have a roaring wind taking the fire along, it's quite a challenge keeping up with it.
If you've just tuned in, we're chatting to Mr. Trevor Abrams, of course, representing Working on Fire, the Kishugu joint venture.
And Mr. Trevor, would you say that does the community need any assistance in terms of any help or any said damage?
So, in most times, South Africans come together amazingly in times of crisis. And I think the reports that we're getting is there's been tremendous collaboration from the community. There have been donations to the firefighters in terms of soft drinks, food,
Yeah.
even the eye drops for the smoke conditions. And as of now, I think it's been assessed that we have a suitable complement of resources on the fire. The fire has been managed by two authorities. One is the Cape Town City Council, which is done mostly on the right flank, which is into the Simonstown area. The left
Yeah.
flank is essentially managed by Sandparks, and that's where we're working with them at the moment. And all the helicopters that we've thrown at the fire at the moment is precisely to try and prevent the spread that's going into the Radial Road area.
Yeah. Sure. Wow. And like we mentioned, this is, of course, with regards or in connection with the recent fire out in Simonstown. Trevor, for our listeners, for anyone wanting to, assist or donate anything, what is the protocol? How do they donate? How do they sort of assist with?
So, in most cases, you see the donations going to the local fire station in terms of food and drinks, and then generally the fire authorities distribute it, ensure it gets to the firefighters themselves.
Yeah.
But I think more importantly, as the community, I think we need to be aware that in these kind of conditions, we do not want any open fires. We cannot afford to have spread of these fires. And then I think to become more evolved in terms of eradicating the kind of alien invasives that grow around our houses, because they spread the fire very rapidly. And
Yeah.
I think we do quite a bit of fire awareness training where we actually produce pamphlets and educate people on how to make your house fire safe. And that includes the kind of trees that you allow to grow around you, to clearing your gutters, to clearing the kind of foliage near your house. So fortunately, this time we haven't had any sort of loss of residences yet, and thanks to that. And we asked the communities to become a little bit more fire aware. And I think obviously in the wake of this blaze, there'll be much more attention to it. And we'll be putting out more of that. They can go to our website, www.workingonfire.org,
Yeah.
our Facebook pages, our social pages, and the information is all there in terms of how communities can try and improve their resilience.
Fantastic. A big thank you to you, Mr. Abrams, for chatting to us this afternoon, and all the best. We are praying for you as you try and put out the fire out in Simonstown. And I suppose provide awareness to prevent this from happening again.
Yes. Thanks very much, Natasha.
All right. Bless you. There you have it. That was Trevor Abrams, of course,